Good afternoon to one and all present here. Day for yesterday, after a highly motivational talk of Sri Ramesh Agarwal sir, Chairman Agarwal Packers and Movers Limited. Now today, one more time, we are among you all with a well-known name in the field of management in our country, Professor B.S. Sahaya sir, founder director of the Premium Management Institute of our nation, Indian Institute of Management, Jammu, to deliver expert talk on academic excellence for future career, which is very beneficial for all the faculties as well as students who are thinking ahead to achieve excellence in their career. I just wanted to tell you that this whole event of today's webinar we are doing under the banner of our Department of Management Studies. Sir is an educator, researcher, and a transformational leader who sets a high standard to create world-class institute with a global outlook and a national focus. Sir was a founder director of IIM Raipur, India for a 6.5 year. IIM Raipur has been ranked the 19th position in India in the National Institutional Ranking Framework NIRF 2020 by MHRD. Before joining IIM, Sir was a director of MDI Gurgaon and Institute of Management Technology IMT Ghaziabad for about 6 years. He changed the face of MDI into a faculty-driven, top-class research-based institute. He brought a radical changes in MDI and introduced new HR policies, service rules, research policy, etc. Transport IMT Ghaziabad as an institute per excellence from a teaching institute into an integrated business school, which is ranked one of the top 10 business school in India during his tenure. Sir was responsible for setting up the IMT Dubai as well as the strategic guidance to the IMT Nagpur. He was also an adjunct professor of Queensland University of Technologies, Australia. He is a founder of Center of Supply Chain Management, principal coordinator of QIP Management, ACT, etc., etc. Sir has over 37 years of experience in the field of teaching, research, consultancy, and industries. Sir has the experience in the field of supply chain management, operation management, project management, productivity management, and business modeling, higher education, and accreditation process. Many more achievements are with Sir. If I'll tell each and every achievement, then this whole session will be less. But I'll not take much of your time because already Sir has a very busy schedule. He has one-to-one meeting schedule. So I'll request our director sir to give a very welcome address and welcome Sahaya sir officially behalf of Gitanjali family. Sir, over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Arvind. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Everybody. Good afternoon to respected BS. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
Friends, today it's indeed a great privilege and one of the greatest moment in the history of Gitanjali Institute of Technical Studies for the Department of Director of IIM Jammu, Professor Dr. B.S. Sahai sir. Sir, we are extremely thankful and grateful to you that you have given your valuable time to us. We are very well aware about your very hectic, busy schedule, but in spite of all your very busy schedule, you have very kindly accepted our invitation to guide us, to guide our students, to guide our faculties, that in what way, what should be the approach, what should be the roadmap and the guidelines we should follow in this current time. Thinking about doing a candle to a sun. Sir is known in the field of management education as an institution builder. Sir has got a very unique credential and credits of building IIMs. IIM Raipur is what today is because of Sahai sir. Now IIM Jammu is being taken care of by sir. So we are very grateful to you, sir. And as we all are aware about the current scenario, I'm not going to discuss about the current situation and all, since we all are aware. And I'm not going even to take any further time because I'm aware about the schedule and blessings. students are going to get lot of very significant direction. Our faculty, our team, and other participants, those who have joined this session, that they will be getting enlightened, they will be getting motivated, they will be getting very concrete roadmap in what way we have to proceed among us. Once again, thank you very much, sir. Over to you, Arvind. Arvind. Over to you, Arvind.
Hello. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Arvind,
Sometime
over
I
to you,
think the
please.
network was having some problem, but after the welcome address of our director, sir,
Yeah.
now I'll not take much of the time. But before giving the whole forum to Saya, sir, I just wanted to tell the something about sir because I am associated with sir on a social media platform. And when I requested sir, sir was very busy and sir schedule we know each and everybody. But I have suggested many topics, but at last sir agreed, or we really fortunate and we are privileged and obliged that sir accepted our request. And with this, now I would like to request Saya sir to enlighten us by his wisdom of word. Sir, over to you, sir.
Arvind ji, Misra ji, faculty members, and students of this what you call Gitanjali School. Fine.
Institute of Technical
First
Studies.
of all, I'm really thankful to Arvind for inviting me. I think there seems to be some disturbance. Something is happening in between. So thank you for inviting. Today, what our plan is that I will just be talking to all of you, maybe for 30-40 minutes, and then if you have any questions to ask, you can ask me. First, Arvind, let me just correct you that when I was at I'm Raipur, this NRF ranking came in 2016. That time I am
Yes, sir.
Raipur was ranked at 18th position, and when I was demitting office in 2017, it was 14th position. It was
Yes, sir.
yeah, so it was 14th
I have put
position.
the
Then because
2020.
right now what is happening, I'm not really bothered about that
Yes.
because but what I'm really
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
thought that let me just tell you this thing that that in
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. We know,
2017
sir.
when I left Raipur, that time NRF ranking was 14 in all India. Yeah. Anyway, so
Okay. Yes, sir.
that's not really important. Like say why I said this thing that achieving academic excellence for future career or for better career or bright career. I'm not sure that how many students are participating in this and what is their background. But I would like to say something that, like say it's really important for me. For me, education, it's a passion. I'm here because I enjoy what I do. I would not like to do something which I don't like, which I don't enjoy. So that way you can say that I'm a really very selfish person. That I do what I like. And if I don't like, I just don't touch it. And there is nothing wrong in saying no. That yes, I don't like it. It's somebody's, let somebody the person should do it. Now, when we talk of this, like say, what I go by this, the karmanye vadika rastu. Mean focus on your job. What I do, that's really important. I need not to worry about the results, what I'm getting results out of that. And if I'm doing my job sincerely, it is bound to give good result. But instead of looking for result that, okay, I should get this result, or you keep expecting a lot of things without doing anything. Well, that is not possible. This is my fourth institution at national level where I got an opportunity to work, to head. And everywhere it was a great learning for me, a great experience for me. And I really enjoyed everywhere, whatever little bit I could contribute. I was trying to do that. But what's important is that all these places, one thing was very common, that very high level of commitment. Person should be really very passionate for what he or she is doing, how to build the whole team, how to motivate students to study. That's more important. That if you're able to do this, that students should realize that, yes, why I have to study? They should not be studying because you are telling to study. They must realize this thing. It is important for their career. It is important for the society, for the nation. So it's really important similarly for teacher also, for faculty members also. There is no point in telling them the do's and don'ts and this and that, because what happens many a time you be governed by so many rules, regulations without any tangible outcome. So it's really important that, when we talk of this, we must understand this thing, that we are in a business of creating knowledge. We are in a business of disseminating knowledge. We are in a business of creating disseminating knowledge, creating knowledge, implementing knowledge. So that's really important. Now let's go by one. That let's say when I say this, creating knowledge means it's doing very high quality of research. Dissemination is through education or through training. Fine. Implementation is if you are doing some consulting or something like that. So you try to implement that whatever your experience, gained experience. Now, when we talk of this thing, I would like to know from all of you that, let's say, what are the attributes of good school? When we talk of, what are the attributes of good school? Which school is really good for me? So, because ultimately, two for me, and this is what I have always given importance. For me, only two things are really important. One is student, another is faculty members. Like say in IIM system or wherever I've worked, fortunately, we invest a lot of money on faculty. We invest on them. The first challenge for any school is to attract good quality faculty member. And I was very choosy. All through I was very choosy in selecting faculty members. You can go to this now Jammu website and you can see the profile of faculty members. And just now we have concluded our faculty recruitment. So very choosy in selecting faculty members. Because faculty is the one who will be teaching students. Faculty is the one who will be doing research. Now, if you talk of any ranking, any accreditation or anything, NRF ranking, you will find that, let's say maximum weight is given to research and academics. For me, infrastructure is not important. It is taken for granted. Anybody can create infrastructure. I remember that in early part of my life, I used to go to, to visit some of the schools for approval, AICT, and then NBA used to send me. And I used to feel very sorry to see this thing, that while building used to be like airport, building used to be like, hotel, but heart and soul was completely missing. It was damn building without any heart and soul. Heart and soul of any institution is faculty and students. There is a misnomer. People feel that no, just having a good building or good infrastructure is the ultimate thing. No, it's nothing. But most important thing is that the quality of student, quality of faculty members. If you are having good faculty members, you will get good students. So it's important that how much we are investing on faculty members. Give them freedom. Don't bombard with so much workload so that they don't give time to do anything other than teaching. It is not like machine shop that you are sitting on a machine and seeing that, okay, what is the capacity utilization of that machine? Don't treat faculty like a machine. It's really important that they are the real asset for you. So it's really important that we really want to achieve academic excellence. We must respect and we must give due weightage to faculty members. It's better to have lesser number of faculty members, but don't just go run by numbers because this regulator says, AICT says that, okay, you have to have that many numbers. Have quality faculty members. Pay them good salary as per the 7th pay commission. Pay them good salary. Treat them as an asset. They will deliver. They will have no choice but to deliver. So what happens is that if you are having good faculty members, you can market that. You can tell to the people that, look, we are a school with a difference, where we are having very good faculty members. See their profile. We take pride in hiring faculty members of very high repute. We like that. Whether it is regular faculty member or adjunct faculty member from different parts of the globe, we like that yes, faculty member, there shouldn't be any compromise on faculty recruitment. And this is one thing probably business school or any university for that matter has to understand this thing, that if you really want a good school, you want to achieve academic excellence, first thing is that faculty. Invest on faculty, give them freedom and develop them, because development is very much important. Send them to conferences, send them to seminars, send them nationally, internationally, wherever as per your rules, regulations, whatever is there. Ask them to write proposals to get research funding to AICT, to UGC or any organization for that matter. So money is not the constraint. If you are doing good research, even industry will come forward to support you. So it's really important that when you are hiring a faculty members, please see two things. Like say we at our place, what we have done is that we say that, okay, we are looking for a applicant who should be first class throughout. Class 10th onwards should be first class. Should have published in this paper. So should have this much experience. So when they apply, the system takes care of online application. When they try to port it, they can't move forward if they are not meeting the conditions. So it's really important that our time is very precious. So we don't want to waste time. When we didn't have this system, we used to get thousands of applications and hardly maybe 5% applications used to be good. So there is no point in wasting time. It's important to use time productively. So what we did, we said that, okay, let system take care of this thing. That, okay, we develop the policy, which is very transparent, which is on the website. Anybody can and everybody can see on the website. And then, of course, the recruitment process is quite rigorous. Anybody who has attended any interview at IMT or MDI or IIM Raipur or this place, they are aware of that, okay, what exactly I'm talking about. So, my dear sir, first thing is that invest on faculty members. That's really important. And if they are really good, then they will be a good teacher and a good researcher. Now, what happens is that when we talk of this, for me, discipline is very much important. Discipline is very much important. And when I say discipline, it is academic discipline inside the classroom. Academic discipline, academic rigor, academic culture, academic collaboration. So everything academic in nature. That the rigor comes from if faculty member has done research, if they are well read, if they have visited industry, they know that how to blend theory with practice, then it becomes very easy. So important that, let's say focus on academic rigor. Now, once you see what happens is that, I don't know how many students you are having in your class, but whatever numbers you have, once you have admitted them, it's your responsibility to ensure that you deliver a good education to them. Now, how you deliver the good education to them, that onus lies on the institution head and the faculty members. Until now, I was talking about that, okay, institutions should take care of, or the universities should take care of faculty members and how to develop them, how to retain them. Because once you have hired, you have developed them, and then you have to retain them also. Next comes that okay, when we are talking of, because we are in a business of non-teaching, we are in a business of doing research. So when we talk of teaching, it has to be really very good teaching. So academic, and to make it happen, it has to be academic discipline. Like say academic discipline is very easy to say, but very difficult to implement. I remember because in early part of my life, for 12 years, I was in industry. I worked in public sector, I worked in private sector, I worked in consulting. Finally, I moved to academics. And in academics, when I came, people used to tell me that, how do you feel? Because they were thinking that, okay, I'm an alien coming from some other planet. And finally, I used to tell them that, look, I'm here by choice, not by default. But again, when I came to academics, I had to prove myself that I'm a good teacher. Nobody told me anything. I got first job at NITI Mumbai being an industrial engineer. I didn't join NITI because of some reason, joined MDI Gurgaon as a professor. And everybody used to ask me that, kaisa lag raha hai? I said, bahut badhiya lag raha hai. Okay. So what happens is that, let's say it's really important because people feel that, okay, somebody coming from industry, I don't know what he will do and all these things. And that time I had decided that I must be a very good teacher, I must be a very good researcher, I must be a very good trainer, and I must be a very good academic administrator. So I decided that I'm going to do this, I'm going to focus on that. First priority was, was that, okay, I should be a good teacher. And I really worked very hard. I say this thing, I don't hesitate in saying this thing. People say that, okay, one class to another class. I used to spend minimum 4 to 8 hours to prepare for one class. Even today when I teach, I spend a lot of time in reading. For me, teaching is a passion. It's not like that, okay, chalo, aaj ka din kat gaya. It's not like that. Because you see, while students write exams and quizzes, few quizzes, faculty members go through examination every day, every class. When I find the face of a student is bright, sparkling, then you know this thing that, yes, I have done a good job. But if you find their face is dull, you feel depressed, you feel that, no, you have not done your job. At least I feel like that yes, I didn't do my job. So for me, it's very much important because inside the classroom, it's me and my students, nobody else is there. So I must enjoy what I'm teaching. Like say, I teach operations management, and in a lighter vein, I used to say that if I'm teaching operations management, and if I'm not able to create factory inside the classroom, then probably I don't have any right to teach operations management. Now, when I am trying to create a factory inside the classroom, because many of the students who are coming to MBA program may not be exposed to industry. So it's really important, and say operations management happen to be a core subject, students don't have any choice, they have to take it. Given the choice, probably they may opt out. So how to develop interest that, look, why operations management is probably the most important subject for you. So for me, it's really important when I teach, I must be immersed in that. But this is what when I teach, I only think about my class. I don't think anything. It's me and my students, that's really important. And let me tell you, if I am prepared, no student can afford to come late in the class, let me tell you. In MDI, my class used to be for all 9 years. It used to be first term, first year, first term, first class. And I need not to say anything. Every time it's a morning 8:30 class. And I'm inside the class at 8:27, 8:26, 8:28. Never, all these years, I neither canceled any class, nor I rescheduled any class. Even I didn't postpone any class. So that develops confidence in the minds of a student that, look, I mean business. And I can tell the student that if you're not prepared, just get out of the class. They have no business to be in the class. If they're not ready, if they're not prepared, let them go out. Let them have fun outside, that's fine. So when I teach, my heart and soul should be there with the student. They should understand that, yes, and that's why they don't take a chance. I must tell you that I'm very fortunate and very lucky to have all those students whom I taught. They're all very sincere, very hardworking, very committed. And all of them are really excelling in their life. I must tell you that. All of them are excelling in their life. So it's really important that, like say this, when we talk of teaching, academic rigor, and rigor comes when you are doing good research, when you're reading. So spend time on reading, spend time on doing research. Now what happens is that, like say as an institute, it's really important that when you're announcing annual calendar, everything should be crystal clear in the beginning of the year. It is not tentative, nothing like that. It should be firm and final once for all, for whole year. There is no change in that. So announce the academic calendar, and then it's important that how you are making timetable. Don't keep it changing. The students should be given this opportunity that, okay, they should know this thing, that, okay, this is the class. Misra sir ka class hai, class mein jana hai, bahut achhi baat hai. He should know this thing, that, okay. And students are very smart. Second year, when first year student is coming, second year students give briefing to them. That, look, here are the faculty members, okay, OM1, so this professor, he's like this, so don't take a chance, he will throw you out of the class. Fine. Okay, this is marketing professor, is like this. Finance professor is like that. Accounting professor like that. HROV is like that. So, they also form an opinion. So it's really important that all teachers, as a teacher, we should be a role model for the student, and not only for the student, for the rest of the faculty members also, for the school also. That yes, and this is what the training I got from my teachers, my parents, my teachers. And like say, there is no supplement or no alternative of hard work. Let me tell you this thing. No alternative of hard work. My father used to tell me, because I never used to study early part of my life, I used to be very casual. So my father used to say that, no, you may be very intelligent, that doesn't make any difference. It's your hard work which is going to matter. He used to say that, 80-20 rules, he used to explain that 80% is your hard work and 20% is your intelligence that matters. So what we call, like say, practice makes a man perfect. So that's really important, that when we talk of say this practice, and it is applicable to both for the faculty and for the students, everybody. So teaching, we must take this when we are teaching a subject, we must take it very seriously. We must enjoy it. Again, every time I'm using the word enjoy. Like say, teaching and enjoying, there is a lot of difference. I don't teach for others, I teach for myself, to make myself happy. And I know this thing, that if I am happy, then I've done my job. So I need not to think, I need not to worry about. So it's really important that give your best to the students. Now, it's inside the classroom. Similarly, outside the classroom, what is our treatment with the student? That's really important. If institute is taking care of you, obviously you will take care of institute. if institute is not taking care of you, you will hardly bother about the institute. It's a cause and effect relationship. Direct. That's why in the early part of my discussion, I was talking about that it's important that, it's important that institute should take care of and invest on faculty members. That's really important. Second thing we know, like, say, what we do is that because many faculty members have also not seen industry. So we encourage them that, okay, go and visit factory, go and visit companies, and we support them for that. All arrangements are done by the institute. So we, everywhere, like say this, we started at IMT, again MDI, IIM Raipur, and now here, that 20% of the total classes should be taken by the industry experts, so that they can develop relationship between what is the relationship between theory and practice. So it's important that, okay, so that the students get practical exposure. You see, another thing which is going to change now because of this COVID, like say, one thing is very good, that in last 3-4 months, everybody has learned technology. That is the best part. Probably they could not have learned in last 10 years or 20 years what they have learned or picked up in last 3 to 4 months. And it's really important that, like say, this teaching through online or using digital platform, or like say we are having this online conference, webinar. Probably earlier we may not have thought of that, okay, probably having webinar online. But now you find that, okay, large number of webinars are happening across the globe. So technology has changed our life. COVID is going to stay for some time. So we have to learn to live with it. Now, how to teach online? That's an art. That it's because many faculty, or probably most of the faculty members may not have used this platform. It's not like that, because if I have a particular way of teaching, a particular style of teaching, I would like to have that type of environment. So we are talking to some of the developers that how to create this. We keep talking about the smart classrooms, but why it should be so costly affair? Can we think of having cost-effective solution for a smart classroom? And we are working on that. And probably once it is done, many other institutions may like to use that. So academics is very much important. We must then pedagogy, I was talking about, different type of pedagogy is there, whether you use case-based method, whether you use simulation, whether you talk of role play, whether you talk of assignments, whether you talk of field study. Not many things are there. Plethora of pedagogy is there. What is important is that less of lecture and more of practical experience. That's really important. Field study is important. These days, it's very difficult to go out, but definitely students can think of doing projects based on secondary data. Please try to develop your faculty members should try to develop that, okay, how to play this teach case based through online, because many of them how to use simulation. There are many simulations available. There are some paid version, some unpaid version. Not many things are there. So please see this thing that, okay, how you are going to do. So once you have made your academic calendar, once you have made your timetable, once you have started classes, you take quizzes, you take midterm, you take end term, or university exam, whatever pattern you have. Don't want to get into that detail. But important part here is that give the feedback to students regularly. We are not very disciplined in giving feedback. So it's really important for the faculty member. And feedback should not be, if required, we call the faculty student, counsel them. So feedback is important. You have taken today quiz, give the marks today or maybe tomorrow, like that. You have done some term exams, fine. Give them feedback so that there should be ample scope for improvement. What happens is that we give feedback only at the end of the semester or end of the trimester. So that's not really very desirable. And I was very particular. When I teach, I don't think anything. For me, as I said, for me, the most important thing is my students. So it's important. Now you see that these days people are talking a lot of about outcome-based education. Now, before outcome-based education, where you like say how we are preparing the course outline. Let me just tell you briefly, explain you that like say how we do it. Like say what is the vision and mission for our institute that we have defined. Then whatever programs we offer, so what is the objective of that program? And that objective of program is derived from the vision and mission of the school. So we ensure this thing. Like say, if we kept this, our vision that, okay, we want to be, get good, leaders and entrepreneurs. Now, if I say this thing, then there has to be enough courses on entrepreneurship and leadership. So we should be able to map that okay, what is the program, this objective of this program, and then accordingly courses should be identified. Like say when the moment we say that okay, our vision is that we want to be a great school which is producing this leaders and entrepreneurs. So we made entrepreneurship as a compulsory course. So that people should know that, okay, yes, we mean it. We mean it. It's not that, okay, because somebody said that, okay, entrepreneurship is important. It's not like that. We offer only 2 programs. Let me tell you, we don't believe in offering many programs. And most of the IIMs, they are offering just 2 or 3 programs. That's it. If you talk of Harvard, they offer just 3 programs. It's MBA, it's PhD, and it's the DBA. We offer MBA and PhD. That's it. So it's important that, okay, yes, there are privileges, a lot of support from the government and otherwise. So probably teaching load here is totally different than what teaching load is given in private schools. But even in private school, let me tell you whether it was IMT or MBI, it's 3 hours per year. So in IIM's load is further down. So we don't believe that okay, our faculty members should be loaded with just the coursework. No, they have many work to do. They have to do research and they must get free time. And some of them they help in academic administration also. So once you have done this thing, course outline, you have how to write course outline. That's really important. People don't know. Course outline is basically an MOU between student and faculty. Let me tell you this thing. It's an agreement between students and faculty that, look, this is what I am going to teach you. But first thing I would like to say this thing that, okay, what is the objective of that course? What is the rationale for having that course? What is the objective? What is the scope of that course? And giving all details. And we go to the extent that each class should be clearly defined, that in a particular class, which particular topic, which particular case, which particular chapter you are going to discuss, date-wise, so that there is no confusion, so that the students are coming prepared in the class, and you are also going prepared in the class. And you like this, if you have read system dynamics, again cause and effect relationship, that faculty member should have positive influence on the student. Just as I mean, if you are doing good job, the students will be motivated to good job. And if they are going reading a lot, then you will be forced to learn, read more and more. So students will have positive impact on you. And you will have further impact on the students. So what happens, it's a cyclical. So the net effect, if you try to plot on the graph, you will find that the relationship is exponential. So it's important that you must understand this thing that, okay, when we talk of that this class delivery part of it, so course outline when we develop, we should be very, very careful, and we give a lot of importance in developing course outline. That brings a lot of clarity among the students and faculty members. and there is no confusion that on which particular date, which particular subject, or which particular topic you are going to teach, because everything is crystal clear. Similarly, let's say, as I said, academic calendar, whole year, and it's a sacrosanct. I made it a point that it must be sacrosanct. In last 16, 17 years, I'm director of one school or other, and everywhere I made it a point that, okay, once we speak, that is form and final. Once we put it on the website that, look, this is our academic calendar, everybody has right to know that how we are going to function. And being working in a public institution, it's a right of anybody that we are subject to question, we are subject to scrutiny. People don't like to be scrutinized, but I say this thing that no, we should be ready, we must answer. Fine. So it's important. And what will happen, the net effect will be that you'll find that the students, they really spend a lot of time in studying. There will be a very, very positive environment inside. They would like to, and what happens is that you like to sit down for doing your project work, for your field work, for organizing conference, seminars, or whatever you do. So I think that the students' power is a very powerful thing. I remember that in 1998, I was quite new to academics because I joined in 1996 in academics. Before that, I was in industry. And I organized the first international conference on global supply chain. And to my utter surprise, people still say this thing that, okay, that was a huge success, more than 700 people that time. And I was with MBI. So what happens is that was possible because students were there. And they felt that it was very much required. Just one conference when it kept MBI because it improves the visibility of MBI, improves its branding, and let's say because so many, I think that 1/3 of it was something 70 CEOs were there in 2 days event, and it was like who's who type of thing. So it's really important that if you really want to do something, everything is doable, nothing is impossible. So let's do it, and you will really enjoy it. So this was the part of academics. I was just trying to say this thing. Now the question is that if a student has gone through this rigor, if students have gone through this rigor, they are bound to perform better in their professional life as well as personal life. Now, when I talk of professional life, many times, let's say this India is a country where people have a very misnomer that you are joining business school to get a job. We are not this placement agency. Nowhere in the world they say that, okay, you join and you get a job. No, it's not like that. There is a career development office, career counseling office, and anybody can apply. And if you get job, fine. If you don't apply, that's your call. But one thing is there that if you have done a very good job, students are bound to get a very good return on what they have invested. Not in terms of money, in terms of time, in terms of learning. And it will give you a great sense of satisfaction. It gives me a great sense of satisfaction when I find that my student is doing something great. Now the question comes at career, it's job only. I say that, like say there are many career options available to students. And one area which I always advocate, and I give unsolicited advice also, if I find some bright candidate is there, that they must think of going for higher education. Who is coming as a teacher? Those guys who are not really very bright. So what will happen? If a person who is not competent and he becomes a teacher, so he will deliver what he knows or what she knows. So it's important that when we talk of this, that they must, bright people should come into this. So I encourage that all good students or all students who have academic and research inclination, they should do PhD from any good institution. Any good institutions, when I say, go to any of IIM, IIT, Aishar, NIT, abroad, any place. but do PhD from a good place. I don't say that other places is bad. No, I don't say that. But I say this thing that if you're doing PhD from a good place, probably it will help you in shaping your life. It will help you in shaping your career. So what happens is that you find any good student, bright student, let him or her write this CAT or GMAT or JRF or GATE or whatever test is there. Let them write. Let them go abroad. Let them be here. Yeah, let them do PhD. Let me tell you this, we are very new, but we started doctoral program and we received a huge response in doctoral program. And all good places, all these places where I'm talking of, they pay a very good scholarship. Many students are not aware of, even many faculty members are not aware of that. And I promote it like anything, that you must, if you have slightest of this academic bent of mind, academic interest, research interest, please go for higher studies. I've seen many people after working in industry for a couple of years, they come back. That is also perfectly all right. But if it is possible and if it is really interested, probably they can immediately go for PhD program. So let them go for PhD program in any of the, and let me tell you, after doing PhD, job is almost sure shot. If you are doing PhD from good place, job is almost sure shot. And if they are getting a job in any of IIMs or IITs, nothing like it, or probably abroad, wherever it is. So I will not like to keep any boundary there. I think that there's no end of it. Second thing is that, like say everybody, job is going to be very tough in coming years, let me tell you. Next year particularly, it is going to be really very tough. 2021 is going to be really very tough because of the still economies to recover. It's very good thing that economy is recovering very fast. I keep talking to my friends across the country in different industries, and they keep giving very good feedback. Now, this Prime Minister has given a very good thing that Atmanirbhar, we have to become Atmanirbhar. And there are so many schemes are available now. So many schemes are available. Loans are freely available. I think that we as a teacher have to ensure this thing, that tell to the student that whether they want to be a job seeker or a job creator. And let me tell you, in early part of life, you are taking very less risk and return is going to be very high. So I think we must promote entrepreneurship. If you are planning, you can think of having an incubation center at your school or university. So entrepreneurship, and all those students who are interested, let me tell you, students, they do great job. Great job. So second option, I say this thing that either you go for, if you are very good, go for higher education. If you want to be an entrepreneur, start your own venture. There are many angel partners who support it. And you can get this support, financial assistance from them. And then there are many NGOs. You can start your own NGO. You can work with some NGO. And then I will put jobs. That okay, if you want, like say in a lighter vein again, people used to, earlier we used to taught this thing that, that पढ़ो लिखो बढ़िया नौकरी करना, पढ़ो लिखो और बढ़िया नौकरी करना. So from childhood we are told that okay, become a very good servant, not a master. तो वो मेंटलिटी जो है, मानसिकता जो है, that becomes, like say that okay, you should be a good servant. So you can work for others, but you can't be master of your own. I say this thing that this mindset has to change. Entrepreneurial mind is that okay, it could be anywhere, whether I'm doing my own business or whether I'm doing for working for somebody else. It's important, and that's why I say this thing that become an entrepreneur. And the last choice would be job. Last choice would be job. that if they get job, they must try to evaluate that, okay, what is the risk associated with starting their own venture, and there is no dearth of fund. I must tell you this thing. There is no dearth of fund. During our time, probably that money was not that easily available. But now you find this thing, the bankers are running around giving you money. So it's very important that students should just not think of jobs. They should think instead of four areas where they can think of. There could be many more other areas also. But broadly speaking, I feel that these are the 4 areas where a student can think of. We must promote higher education. If somebody is really bright, they must write they must join PhD program in India or abroad in some of the top business schools or top universities across the globe. Next is that they become an entrepreneur or start their own NGO. And the last thing is that, last priority, I will say this thing, that they can think of having jobs. So with this, I close this thing. And if you have any question, you can ask me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much
Sorry,
for
I
this.
had said that, okay, 30, 40 minutes, but I see here that probably I've taken more than that time. I'm sorry for that. Okay.
Sir, we have not seen the watches and the time, sir. When we were hearing you, sir, it was really a enlightened kind of message for all of us, because each and every word and the sentence what you have told, it was the message for all the faculties and the students, sir. So really, it was a great session, sir. Or whatever information and the message you have circulated among all, that the teacher should come by choice, not by chance. Definitely, we also really feel that if somebody is coming by choice, then definitely they'll become a very good teacher. And we have to focus on the research part, many more areas. We have to promote to the faculties, give some kind of assignment, practical based work. These many things we will definitely focus, and we will try to achieve these kind of benchmark, so that the Gitanjali can also become one of the leading institute in India, sir. Or definitely your message will be thoughtful for all of us. So we will definitely work on this. And we have got some questions, sir, from the student side. So they are also very curious to know the answer from your side. One student had asked that, sir, how can the student be motivated to be more innovative? How they can be motivated to be more innovative?
Okay, so as I said, this thing that like say this, they have to really, once they are in class, their mind and soul should be there. And like say this, in all my students who are working with me, like say, I used to spend a lot of time, and I still spend a lot of time with my students. So the relationship between this teacher and student is symbiotic, and I think is that if onus lies on faculty members and the school, that how to engage students, that's a real challenge. How to engage students. When they are studying, we should be talking only about study. When they are playing or enjoying outside, let them enjoy. It's their life. It's their life. So what happens is that, like say, if I'm doing some project, some assignment, some research, I can involve my students. We must encourage our students to do more than what is being taught. Let them do some, like say, some projects, some industry projects. They can be part of the research. Let me tell you how motivation comes. One of my PGP student at MDI, like say I will not like to talk about others, but what I have followed in my life is that anybody working with me, I give due credit to him. Like say if I'm writing a paper and if my student has helped, so his name is also there. Not in acknowledgement, as an author. As an author. So what happens, it doesn't make many difference to me, but makes a lot of difference to him. So many of our students were just, while completing their PGP program, They had 3-4 international publications. Or all my research associates, because I had a Center for Supply Chain, I started Center for Supply Chain Management at MBI, or even here, all these students who are working with me, everywhere I make it a point that I must give due credit to students. So that really motivates them. So all those faculty members who are doing research, they can take help of bright students, or all those students who are interested in this. You see, there are different set of students. Somebody who is academically inclined, so okay, let those students work with faculty members on some research projects, some paper, some books, whatever it is. Somebody is very good in organizing. They have tremendous organizing capability. And some faculty member is organizing conferences, seminars, or some event. Those students should be brought there. And it is up to the faculty member to decide that whom he or she wants to keep. But ultimately what happens is that you say that, okay, this boy is really very good. Like say somebody has a natural gift, excellent orator. Okay, so if an excellent orator, give him an opportunity to speak. But again, others should also get a chance. So whatever, we must nurture the expertise of every student. We must focus on every student. That's really important. It's not only that, okay, I say focus on a handful of students because they are good, so we focus all our energy on that particular student. No. For me, as a teacher, all students are same for me. Differentiator is that somebody is really good in academics or have interest in teaching this research or doing field study, he can be part of my research work. Perfectly all right. And I will acknowledge that. If he's helping me in writing papers, perfectly all right. His name should be there. So likewise, I mean, let's say it matters.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll not take much of your time. Only one more question I'll take. That what, according to you, does the Indian youth lack in themselves? What kind of lacunas they feel?
I really don't know. I don't find anything because
That student, so student has asked, sir.
let me answer to a student. I'm a very positive person, and I don't find anything wrong with them. The only thing is that they should focus on their career, their priorities. Okay, and first and foremost thing is that he should be a very good human being. That's the most important thing. If you are a nice human being, like say, you can learn, you can earn, you can do any damn thing. Everything is possible. Let's say everybody is bright, everybody is competent, everybody is, let's say what is required is to muster courage to do something great. And at the end, I would like to say that all students, it's very nice talking to all of you, all teachers, and that just think, like say, dream big. That's really important. Dream big. And unless you dream big, you can't think big. And unless you think big, you can't do big. And let me tell you, everything is possible in this planet. And you can do it, I'm sure. Let's do something good for the nation. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll invite at the end to say a vote of thanks, final vote of thanks by Director, sir, because I know that sir already exceeding with the time limit or he has the meeting. So, sir, over to you, sir. Final remark from your side. And with this, I just wanted to tell everybody that the faculties and students are the base of the education institute. If they will be recognized and rewarded, then the institute will go well. And with this, I invite Director, sir, to give away the final vote of thanks.
Thank you, Arvind. Thanks a lot, sir. Indeed, it last 1 hour has been a great, memorable learning session for all of us. Personally, as a faculty, to me, to all my faculty colleagues, and for all the participants, those who have joined across regions. So each and every word, each and every line, which, sir, you have given us the direction, it has given us, it has motivated the entire audience. And in such a very simple, plain words, you have given the right direction, the basic roadmap in what way faculty or a student can proceed. To me, the major takeaway in terms of Like when you say that teaching as a faculty should teach to make himself or herself happy. That is what a biggest thing or a biggest direction which I see. If as a faculty I am happy, if I am aware, that's what very rightly sir has given us a main mantra to all the faculties. Because the faculty is very well aware when the moment he or she is standing in the class, whatever if I have delivered, if my soul is satisfied, then I am aware that I have connected with the class. So that is the major learning for me individually, connecting, putting heart and soul, each and every, I'm not going to take much of the time since I'm aware about sir's engagement, each and every line, each and every direction, each and every word is a pearl, is a diamond to all of us, to every participant. Thank you very much, sir, from the bottom of our heart, from the entire Gitanjali family. We sincerely offer our thanks, our heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, for sparing your most precious, valuable time, to all of us for motivating us. Only request is please keep mentoring us, please keep blessing us. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.